Welcome to my channel. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books. It is a Friday afternoon, and on this Friday afternoon I want to give you, a suggestion. 5 interesting books that I've come across the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks. 5 books that really interest me. One of them I got already as an audiobook. The other 4 I have to see how I can get them. So today I will mainly try to present you these books and give the information that the publishers have provided for these books. So let's do this in a few seconds. The Delivery by Margarita Garcia Robayo, translated from the Spanish by Megan McDowell and published by the beautiful publisher Charco Press in Edinburgh, Scotland on October 24 last year. In The Delivery, an enormous package arrives that can't be opened. Agatha the cat appears and disappears. Half-finished buildings punctuate the horizon, semi-ordinary happenings that take on an otherworldly cast if you look at them sideways. And nothing is stranger in this high-rise apartment far from home than the tenuous bonds of family that hold us together, or don't. The narrator works, zooms with her sister, makes plans for the future, a writing residency, a child, and tentatively probes her past while subtle fissures open up around her, changing her life forever. She says about her childhood home, quote unquote, "Sometimes I get curious, but I don't ask, because the answer could come with information I'd rather not know." By turns tender and biting, this is Robayo's finest work yet. The second book, the one that I got as audio, is Shame, The Politics and Power of an Emotion by David Keane. That was published by Princeton University Press on November 28 last year. Today we are caught in a shame spiral, a vortex of mutual shaming that pervades everything from politics to social media. We are shamed for our looks, for our culture, our ethnicity, our sexuality, our poverty, our wrongdoings, our politics. But what is the point of all this shaming and counter-shaming? Does it work, and if so, for whom? In Shame, David Keane explores the function of modern shaming, paying particular attention to how shame is instrumentalized and weaponized. Keane also traces the rise of leaders on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean who possess a dangerous shamelessness, and he asks how shame and shamelessness can both be damaging. Answering this question means understanding the different types of shame, and it means also that understanding how shame and shamelessness interact with each other, not least when shame is instrumentalized by those who are selling shamelessness. The next book is The Sterns Are Listening by Jonathan Wells. That was published by ZE Books on November 7. From acclaimed poet and memoirist Jonathan Wells comes a raucous and aching New York novel about family derangement, about boomer laments and youthful revolt. Rock and roll, something I like and love, and the sacrifices we all made for what we love. Benjamin and Dinah Stern are seasoned New Yorkers whose life in the pre-war Upper East Side building Benjamin's grandfather built has settled into stasis. 2 children no longer at home, living professional lives never fully realized. Then Benjamin's brash younger brother, Spence, founder and CEO of the hearing aid company Belphonics, asks him to collaborate on a new product line inspired by the brothers' rock and roll youth at CBGB's. A funny and a deeply felt debut novel from poet and memoirist Jonathan Wells. The Sterns Are Listening explores a family on the verge of both collapse and regeneration. Book number 4 on the list of 5 interesting books that I would love to get my hands on in January is The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chan, published on January 4 this year by Hodder and Stoughton. This takes us to British Malaya, 1930s. Discontented housewife Cecily is seduced by Japanese General Fujiwara and the glorious future he's promising for independent Malaya. free from British colonialism, and as she becomes further embedded as his own personal spy, she unwittingly alters the fate of her country by welcoming in a punishing form of dictatorship under the Japanese in World War II. Japanese occupied Malaya in 1945. Cecily and her family are barely surviving. Her children, Jujubee, Abel, and Jasmine, are surrounded by threat and look to their mother to keep them safe. But she can't tell them about the part she played in the war, and she doesn't know how to protect them. Can Cecily face up to her past to save her children? Or is it already too late? The next book is Blizzard by Marie Vingtras, translated from the French by Stephanie Smee, and this was published yesterday on January 18 by Mountain Leopard Press, a beautiful publisher's name. And this takes us to the state of Alaska. There's a blizzard that rages in an isolated corner of Alaska. Few inhabitants live in this desolate place. Scattered across the vast, wide expanse, they shelter in solitude from the tempest and the extreme cold. But amid the storm and far from home, a woman walks alone with her child. She stops for a moment to retie the laces of her boots filled with snow. Instants later, she looks up, and the child under her care has vanished. In desperation, she searches for him, knowing that every minute that goes by in this snowstorm is a threat to both her and to her child. Soon she's joined in the hunt by other neighbors, and as the search intensifies to save the missing child from a certain death, she too will become the object of pursuit. Well, Blizzard is a gripping novel, a thriller, a quiet and unnerving at first, but then building to a breathtaking climax, a breathtaking finale. This book is the winner of the French Bookseller Award last year in 2023. And I have another book for you, Under the Hornbeams, a true story of life in the open by Emma Tarlo, published by Faber and Faber on January 18, yesterday. My bonus book here. I'm not homeless, this is my home. Nick points to the branches of the hornbeam under which we are standing, its leaves still glistening in the aftermath of the morning rain. On one of the lower branches sits a robin, joining our conversation. It seems to be saying, why should anyone want to leave this place? Well, that's a very good question, isn't it? Nick and Pascal, they live and sleep outside in central London. They are an unusual duo. Nick is an avid reader of history and philosophy, able to converse on any topic that you can imagine. Pascal is quiet. He's spending much of his time lying still, communicating silently with birds and animals. They have lived alongside each other in London's streets for nearly 2 decades, yet do not identify as homeless. For the past 5 years, they have taken shelter under the hornbeam trees in Regent's Park. Everybody who has visited London has seen Regent's Park, I guess. Emma Tarlo first meets Nick and Pascal when out walking. Gradually, through the sharing of food, the conversation and life stories, they develop a friendship, and Emma is impressed by their unique way of experiencing both the hardship and the pleasures of life outside in the city of London. And their conversations under the open sky prompt Emma to question many things in her own life, transforming her understanding of what freedom might look like. Well, Under the Hornbeams, it is a book that follows the seasons of a single year through sun, wind, and rain and snow. Returning to the park almost daily, Emma meets the community of people, dogs and birds, who gravitate around Nick and around Pascal, and she discovers the precarious networks of giving and receiving that exist undetected in London's streets. The result is a life-affirming story that pays homage to the power of human connection and upturns many of our preconceptions about home, family, work, and community. This is a book that will stay with you long after you've read it. Have you seen the old man who walks the streets of London? Some of you might know that song by Ralph McDowell. Well, these were the books that I found so interesting that I would love to get my hands on. I am very conservative now in buying new books. I've said that before, I say it again. So I don't know if I will get any of these books except for shame, because I have this as an audiobook already. Maybe my library will get it. Maybe I will be so impatient later on this year that I will buy them. Maybe on a trip to London, who knows? I haven't booked anything yet, but I might feel the urge. I might feel the urge to go to the capital of the United Kingdom later this year. Let's see if I do this. For today, I say have a great day, great reading. Tell me what you found in recent weeks and months interesting to read. New books that, well, should tempt us to buy them, should tempt us to borrow them from the library or to get them as audiobooks. I see you soon in another video. This will be probably a Sunday read on Sunday where I want to talk about all the books that I read this year already, the books that I DNF'd, and books that I'm currently reading. See you then. Happy days. Bye-bye.